and a very warm welcome to yet another episode of our Fireside Chat. Today, we are going to discuss something that is untouched, or we can say that it should have been discussed before. But nonetheless, we'll talk about a very simple yet quite effective solution for mobility, which is e-bikes. And today's topic is blue collar e-mobility, a right not yet taken. So e-bike adoption has become a new phenomenon across the globe in India, in metro and non-metro cities. The startups operating in this field are expecting a high jump in their revenue from frontline workers because of their need to reach the end mile. In today's Fireside Chat, we'll highlight the significance of e-bikes for these workers. What are the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead for e-bike market, and how can organizations make this a smooth ride? And today I have with me two very distinguished guests to discuss this in detail around this particular topic. And my first guest is Mr. Vaibhav Sharma, Senior Director, Partnerships for BetterPlace. Welcome to the show, Vaibhav.
Thank you.
Vaibhav is the lead for benefits distribution at BetterPlace Safety Solutions. He designs various products and offerings to allow the frontline workforce to become employment ready and optimizes financial readiness for all milestones, both planned and unplanned. With extensive experience in shaping used case into business models, he aims to improve the well-being of frontline workforce as a business model at BetterPlace. Once again, welcome to the show, Vaibhav.
Thank you.
My next guest is Tanveer Singh, co-founder and CEO of Moving Smart Mobility and Energy. Welcome to the show, Tanveer.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. And a brief introduction about Tanveer. I think Tanveer is very much focused, and he's focusing on battery swapping and subscription as the core offering of EV energy. He comes with a wealth of experience in the clean tech sector for over more than 12 years and brings his expertise in building and scaling companies with innovative OPEX models. His next stint in the startup world with Moving. So on that note, let's move toward the Q&A session. My first question to you, Vaibhav. Vaibhav, it's a very basic and simple question, but I would like you to highlight the depth of it. How much potential do you see in the e-bike sector, which can provide a mobility solution to the frontline workforce?
Thanks, Abid. I think it's just a very basic question that needs to be addressed. And the idea around this is specifically highlighted more so post-COVID because a lot of people did lose jobs. A lot of e-commerce deliveries, which are now ramping up to scale to meet the requirements. And if you look at it, there are a lot of weddings and events now happening at larger scales, right? So which gives these blue-collar workforce, which is daily wage laborers, a lot of job opportunities to get employed at. The biggest segment where these guys are currently getting employment is largely around e-commerce, food deliveries, and even logistics in certain ways. Now, e-bikes becomes a very good opportunity or an option for these guys because number one, we are all seeing the prices of petrol skyrocket, right? And electricity-based charging is very convenient. With if you look at from what I understand is that there is about 1 unit of electricity needed for every kilowatt of battery that needs to get charged. So a guy can have a scooter charged at a cost of not more than 20 rupees or 15 to 20 rupees per day, depending upon which city he lives in. If it's a tier 2, tier 3 city or a rural area, it's even more cheaper. 15 to 20 rupees is his average daily running cost, and he can go up to 120 to 150 kilometers of mileage in a day. So that becomes a very attractive option. And there are a lot of OEMs in this space. I'm sure Moving is also running that initiative where they're trying to create a scooter which comes at a very subsidized cost. And the battery charging becomes the new fuel. So, battery swapping becomes a new fuel, and it just swap between batteries to get an extended mileage out. This allows for very minimal investment or upfront cost from the blue-collar workforce who's any which way short on money to be able to become employment ready and get a quick job. Also, largely we are seeing a lot of employment going down the gig route. So in the morning, they're working for an employer, in the evening, they're working for a second employer, and so on and so forth. So largely, a gig worker having his own asset for mobility, whether it is a two-wheeler or a three-wheeler eventually, it is very beneficial for him to be able to have multiple sources of income that he can tap into. Unlike an older model where the asset was belonging to the principal employer. So hence, in my opinion, it's a great opportunity for the blue-collar workforce to get access to electric scooters, reduce their cost of runnings, contribute to creating a positive carbon footprint, and also, you know, have little or no financial burden on themselves to get started towards employment. At BetterPlace, we're looking at putting out at least 25 to 30,000 active scooters within the next 12 months to enable that many more jobs month on month for an employment opportunity. So
Okay.
yeah, that's my take on that.
Okay, definitely. I come about what Better Place is doing in my next question. My question to Tanveer is, Tanveer, last miles logistics is crucial for the delivery sector. There's no doubt about it. And with the promises of quick deliveries, we all are hearing about Zomato 10-minute deliveries and Swiggy deliveries, or any other delivery for that matter. Do you think e-bikes will lose out to fuel bikes, or like what advantage do you have over traditional bikes?
No, it's a good question. So first of all, these quick deliveries, first is whether they'll stay and how long they'll stay. But it's important to note, and because we are working with a lot of players in the industry which are into the quick delivery segment, it's more so the design of their network. How closer are they to the customer than the bikes? So bikes do have a role to play. But I don't think so EVs will lose out. The EVs, as far as the performance is concerned, they've already caught up. Today we have EVs which top up at 55 kilometers per hour, which top up at 70 kilometers per hour, and they're coming out at a decent price range as well. The real concern for these guys will be how many runs they can make, because these are faster runs. Every few minutes they have to come back, every few minutes they have to leave. They don't have a lot of time to charge in between, and that's where the real challenge will lie. The challenge will not be in the speed of the bike. I think that's already taken care of, and new products are coming into the market which will cater to that at the right price point. The challenge will be whether they have enough time in between to have longer runs, and that's where we are working on. We are working on battery swapping as energy for electric vehicles, where the people will be able, these drivers are able to swap within 2 to 5 minutes, and they can continue to run as much as they want, whether it's 100 kilometers or 150 kilometers also is what we've seen. So that's basically over the traditional bikes, apart from the range, apart from the cost of running, there will not be a lot of difference. In fact, it's important at this stage of the industry that these bikes, electric bikes, will be at par with the petrol bikes. And I think that's a fairly tall achievement that we will be achieving this year.
Yeah, that will be a great achievement because these traditional bikes are here for ages and decades.
Exactly.
And EV is catching up, there's no doubt, from the policy's point of view, from the customer's point of view. So coming to Vaibhav, we have spoken about the market. I would like to ask, what are current challenges for frontline workers in adapting the e-bikes, and like how is BetterPlace solving that problem?
Sure, I'll come to how BetterPlace is solving those problems. But largely, I would like to first address what's the biggest challenge in adoption to this, and maybe Tanveer can help add to this conversation as well. Electric scooters are now available at very attractive price points. There are also financing options that are being made available. But the larger concern from the blue collar workforce or the frontline worker largely remains on the asset that he owns at the given moment. He's already delivering at some Swiggy or Zomato of the world. So he already has a scooter. He's already getting the job done. We have to overcome that roadblock of cost and mindset to make him give away the scooter which he already owns, which is an internal combustion based fuel scooter. So these are the large two problems that we see. Other than that, there are players like Moving who are innovating a lot of technology In the last 6 months, the prices of batteries have dropped from 45,000 to 25,000-30,000 rupees. And in the future, it may reduce even further, making the scooters more so.
I'll actually, sorry to cut you there, just one point. So prices actually have started increasing now, where innovation in business models will become a key going forward. But I agree with you that it's important for us to innovate on the business models and tell the gig worker that what is the advantage of having a second bike, or are there enough products in the market where he can actually move away from his traditional ICE bike and move to a petrol EV. And I think that's one challenge which with BetterPlace, we are trying to solve. And we still have some way to go there.
Right. So carrying on to what we just mentioned, so the solutions that we are looking at building in is, number one, we are trying to address and cater to the audience who does not have a scooter with a monthly rental model. Eventually, when he utilizes the scooter, he sees the ease, convenience, and the affordability of this particular EV as a vehicle. We want to kind of convince him that he can actually go ahead and move from a rental to an owner model, right? Whatever rents that he has paid towards the certain usage for say 30 days, 90 days, or a 6-month period will be adjusted towards the pricing of the scooter, and he can buy the scooter from us. Additionally, we're also exploring opportunities and options where we can buy back the existing scooter that he may have, which is a fuel-based scooter, and help him with an electric scooter along with financing. So these are various options that we are building in. Also, from what we understand, that there is enough and more innovation that's going out and about with respect to batteries, that manufacturers are now planning to create a standard battery so that which is interoperable in different scooter models, and everybody can dip into the swapping infrastructure that's available, completely addressing and killing the range anxiety, which largely is the only concern when it comes to how far the battery charge will take it, right? So BetterPlace is actually working at identifying these various business models, start initiating people who do not have scooters with a with a monthly rental plan, which is deducted from their earnings once they have utilized the scooter already. So it's a post-paid setup. We'll eventually grow that to from rental to owner model, where whatever rents that he has paid in 3, 6, 9 months, at any point in time, if he decides to choose the vehicle, we will work out a financing plan where those 9 months of rentals will be considered towards the payment of the scooter. And finally, we are looking at buying back options of these two-wheelers where we can help them exchange their existing assets towards electric vehicles to increase adoption and show them the convenience and ease of it, bearing in mind the increasing petrol prices.
No, that's a very good thing that you've mentioned about the buying back option. About if they have used it for a couple of few months, and then you will consider it as a payment for if they are willing to purchase, which will definitely help them. Coming to Tanveer, same question. I think with the point from moving, what role moving is playing to make the e-bike, association with frontline workers very smooth ride.
Sure. So, Abid, Moving's mission is to make electric vehicle adoption risk-free. So it's important to understand what are the risks that are plaguing higher offtake in this market. So I think the biggest risk is that the product is not mature. This is a fairly new market. We've recently seen a lot of cases of battery fire, which is creating another paranoia in the minds of eventual consumers and off-takers. And the other questions are very simple. What happens in 2 years or 3 years time? Will my battery work? Will I have to spend again in 3 years or 4 years or 5 years time and buy another battery? How long will this vehicle run? There are not enough good brands in the market which are giving electric vehicles. Can I sell this vehicle after a few years? There are all of these questions, and that's where moving is coming into the picture. As I said, the primary focus area of moving is first and foremost to de-link the battery risk for the consumer. So when we are building a product proposition for partnerships like BetterPlace and eventually to the end customers, our simple commitment to them is that the entire risk of battery is on us. right? They can use as much as they want. They can run as many kilometers through the use of swapping network as they want. And no matter they run for 3 years, they run for 5 years, we assure them a lifetime kilometer guarantee, right? And we assure them that they will never run out of fuel. And we assure them that because all these things are happening, there will be no impact on their earnings, right? The biggest thing in the mind of an gig worker is gaadi rukegi, meri earning us din ki kam hogi, and how do I work over that? And that's where we are working on. So how do we protect their earnings by giving them all these services? Additionally, at the back end also, we are working with electric vehicle OEMs, and we have built a service network which allows for a higher uptime of these vehicles. It's important again that EVs, we need to understand, are at a fairly nascent stage in the industry. So these products are not very robust, right? So just giving a battery separately does not get away all with all the problems. You have to offer the right service as well, and that's where moving is also coming into the picture. We are offering a service package with an uptime guarantee, partnered with the OEMs at the back end where we've been working, so that the vehicle does not go down. And if it goes down, there is enough and faster response time so that he does not lose out on his daily earnings. So this is what we are offering as moving is concerned. EV adoption in a risk-free manner.
Thank you, Vaibhav, and thank you, Tanveer, for sharing your thoughts about the market and also about the driver perspective about what your specific companies are doing. Very quickly, I would like you to touch upon on last question. I would like to ask both of you about the response from frontline workers on e-bikes. What are some of the frequently asked questions, and till what extent you have managed to solve their problems and convince them for opting e-vehicle?
So I'll ask Vaibhav to take the lead.
Sure, thank you, Tanveer. So, Abid, we've actually been spending a lot of time on the ground with a lot of delivery executives across companies like Swiggy, Zomatos, and all those people who do deliver. Their first reaction to an EV is that of a very big smile, because the scooters are fairly quiet, the acceleration is fairly good, and the beautiful part of these particular scooters is they're all controlled through smartphone apps, right? Which allows them to not be worried about losing the scooter keys or losing the scooter anywhere else, because it can be remotely controlled through the app. So that's a big plus that we get from the delivery executives. Additionally, also the one of the other feedback that I got from one delivery executive who did 3,500 kilometers in a given month, which by any means is a very large number of kilometers or mileage covered by a delivery executive in a small area. His feedback was, switching from an internal combustion engine to an EV-based scooter has helped him feel less amount of fatigue doing his job, and that's the reason why his productivity went up. Originally, he would do about 2,500 kilometers in a given month, but he just pushed it by another 1,000 kilometers because the EV was very comfortable on this. So these are the initial feedbacks that we get from that I have personally seen recorded in terms of people utilizing these scooters and getting back. Largely, their apprehensions are now coming into place because of the heat wave that happens in India during the summers. And parts of India receives extremely heavy rainfall where there's water flooding and incessantly heavy rainfalls. So their concerns are around temperature ज़्यादा बढ़ जाएगा तो battery गर्म होगी, आग तो नहीं लगेगी, so on and so forth. And these are the kind of questions that are being asked. And yes, along with players like Moving, we are looking at addressing these answers and giving them a sense of safety, security, and assurance that these scooters are not going to cause any problems, but only bring convenience to them. And also, yes, there is a lot of mandate that comes to us from the government bodies, largely after these testings have taken into account, to push out mandated EV fleet percentages for across clients. So all in all, yes, there's a positive sentiment towards EV, even in the delivery executive. What we have to continuously evolve, like what Tanveer mentioned, is to create business models to make it more effective and affordable for this audience, because, they're not one of those people who can financially are not liberated to take decisions of just buying a scooter at a whim.
Okay, Tanvi, your thoughts?
No, I totally agree with Vaibhav. So we need to understand that the audience that we are talking about, the gig workers, they're not trendsetters. I think that's something that we should be cognizant about. They are more following the trend. And today, EV is the buzzword. Everyone understands the savings that they can make. So initially, when I started in this industry, the first question was, how much money will I save? So I think that's where it all starts. So they are saving money. They are saving so today they are spending about 1.6 rupees per kilometer. With electric vehicles, they'll spend about, I'm talking with swapping, so they'll spend about 1 rupee per kilometer or less. And that's almost like 30-40% saving on their current costs of fuel, which translates loosely into about 1,500 to, on the higher end, about 2,000 rupees per month, and which is a significant amount for these people. So the response is pretty positive. The conversion is a little slow. Realistically, let's understand that everyone wants savings, but they have their own concerns. There are a lot of concerns about safety, which we are trying to answer by being a partner with them in the product, by saying that we are not just selling it to you, we are only giving it to you on a pay-per-use basis, so that the risk remains with us. It's not something that we are selling to you and then you are responsible for anything that happens. I think that's fairly well received in the market. Second thing is, a bundled offering is important. As I said, service is very important, and they have concerns because, as I said, not very many big brand names are there. So it's important for them to understand where they get service, how they get service, in how many hours do they get service. So bundling a service proposition is also very important, which has also been well received. And I think once these two things are taken care of, after that, the other problems are just teething problems. It's a new industry. We'll have to get over them one by one. And we'll have to be cognizant that it's a growing industry. We have to be careful what we seed in the market. So I've been in the clean tech industry, as I said, for over 12 years now. And I've seen this twice over, first with solar and solar modules, and then now with batteries and electric vehicles. It's important that all companies, including us, we put the right products in the market, because it's the first impressions, right? These are all first impressions. It's very important that we take solid steps and build a solid base, because right now at this stage, if we keep on putting bad products in the market, the consumer sentiment will take a big hit and it will be very difficult to come out of that. So these are a few important things that we are taking care of, and I think it's fairly a positive feedback from the ground.
Yes, you are right. It's a growing market, and you should be very careful what you're seeding into the market. And I think eventually they will take it up. They will choose over the traditional bike. They'll choose EV as the priority. I think on that note, I've got a lot to learn about EV, about e-bikes, and about the market, and about the sentiments as well. So it was wonderful having you guys, on this chat. And thank you so much, Vaibhav. Thank you so much, Tanvi, for sharing your thoughts. And thanks a lot. It was nice having a conversation with you guys.
Thank you, Abid. Thank you, ETHR. Thanks, Vaibhav.